Good morning, everyone. Hope everybody's had a great weekend. And we are, make sure my time is on. All right, our time is on. Hope everybody's had a great weekend and is ready for the second half of the month of July. At least that's when I'm recording it. If you are watching this on replay, I hope you're having a great day, week, month, year, whatever the situation is for you. We're going to get into this quickly. Topic here today is how to pull other people up. So any of you who's in a leadership position, any of you who is working with other people, and you want to bring them up to the level that you're at or elevate the level of the organization that you're in. This could be your family, it could be your business, it could be a sports team, it can be your community, it can be whatever other group you could be leading or being a part of, even if you're just a member. What we're going to talk about here today is how to pull people up. Introducing myself, my name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day. I'm a former 9-year professional athlete. I'm author of 35 books. I've done 4 TEDxTalks, and I created this brand called Work on Your Game. What we do here is we work with people who are looking to take the tools to help athletes get to the top of the sports world and translate those tools over to the business and the professional world. Our target groups, people who we work with the most, are small business owners who want to step up their marketing, people who want to build a high performance mindset. That's group number 2. Number 3, people who are transitioning into entrepreneurship. So you're a small business owner looking for marketing help, you're a high performer who wants to get the mindset that goes with high performance, or you are transitioning into entrepreneurship. Those are the people who we usually work with the most. We have other people, but those are our main folks, just in case any of you was wondering. So getting into this topic of how to pull people up. This is for those of you who are leaders, whether you have a leadership title or you just want to lead, even if there is no title associated with it. This is what I'm going to share with you here today is a formula for bringing people up to the level that you're at, or just raising the level of an entire group, whether you're at that level or not. And we're going to talk about some pieces of that formula. This is not a completely conclusive list. There's some other things you can do that I'm not going to mention here, because I can teach a whole year-long program on bringing people up when it comes to leadership, but we're not going to do that here today. We're just going to give you some high-level stuff that you can get started with. Everybody got that? Good. Point number 1. Topic here today is how to pull people up to your level. Number 1 thing you need to do, you want to pull people up to your level, is you must be at a level that other people want to get to. Number 1 thing you need to do if you want to pull people up to a higher level is that you need to be at a level that when other people look at you and they see you, they're like, damn, I want to be there. I want to do that. You got to be somewhere that other people want to be. If you want to represent something that's going to motivate and inspire other people to another level, then you need to be somewhere that is going to move, that is going to inspire and motivate other people to say to themselves, damn, you know what? I want to be where that person's at. All right, so you have to represent what it is that you want other people to do. You can't pull people up if you are average, unless you're working with a bunch of bum people. So if you got a bunch of average people around you, you can't also be average and then say you want to pull those people up. Well, where are you pulling them to? You can't pull them anywhere because you're not up. You got to be up in order to pull people up. So you need to make sure that you are stepping your game up, or have your game already stepped up, so that you can look at other people and say, okay, I'm going to take you all from here to here. The way that you're currently performing, all right, even if it's just you by yourself, needs to be at a level that is aspirational to other people, that when they see it, they're like, damn, all right, that's where I want to be. All right, because again, if you're not doing that and people don't see you as someone who is doing something that they want to do, then they won't aspire to get to your level. Now, there are a couple of things that you need to understand with this. First of all, this doesn't mean every human that you come across, you need to be at a higher level than them, because there may be some people better than you. So if you're a college athlete, for example, high school athletes may want to get to your level because they're in high school and you're in college. You're at a level above. But if you're a college athlete, you might not be able to go to pro athletes and say, I'll pull you up, because they're at a level above you. So some of this is about choosing the right audience. And it's also about, once you've chosen the right audience, you need to make sure, again, you are representing what they want. You're representing that you're at a level that they need to be at. So you don't have to be better than everybody in the world. It's like if you're a tennis instructor, you don't need to be better than Serena and Venus Williams, but you do need to be better than, and you need to know more than the people who you're going to teach and train, which doesn't mean everybody. It just means the right people. So part of this is audience selection. And once you've chosen an audience, you need to make sure that you have something that they want and that you can pull them to the next level. So the first step is that you got to be at the level that you want to move other people to. All right, everybody got that? So this first step is really about self-accountability, folks. It's about you looking in the mirror and making sure that you are what these other people who you're going to serve, whoever you want to serve, and you can choose your audience. You got to make sure that you are what they want to be, or you have something that they want to have. So What are the standards you have for yourself, and are you living up to those standards? That's the question you're asking yourself. And speaking of that, let's move on to point number 2. What we're talking about here today is how to pull people up to your level. Number 2, set standards for yourself so that you can set them for others. This is a really important point here, even more important than the first point, is you must set standards for yourself so that you can set them for others. You cannot hold other people to a standard if you are not holding yourself to a standard. You can't hold other people accountable if you are not holding yourself accountable. You can't enforce discipline on another person if you are not enforcing discipline on yourself. So all of this starts with the person in the mirror, not with the people out the window. It doesn't start with the other people who you are looking to serve. It starts with you. Because if you're not doing these things to and for yourself, then you are unqualified to do them or to push them or to encourage other people to do these same things. And what we call this is being out of integrity with yourself. So integrity just means that your thoughts and your words and your actions are all aligned. And if they're not aligned, then you're out of integrity, which means you are unqualified to help other people step their game up if you're not stepping your game up. Again, in whatever way that you're looking to do it. It doesn't have to be every aspect of your life. Ideally it is, but in whatever way you're looking to help people, you got to make sure that you're where you're supposed to be. What are the standards that you set for yourself? Standards matter a lot, folks, and they still matter, even though we see in a lot of aspects of life, a lot of standards are being removed just to make things easier for people. And that's a bad idea, because what it does is it creates a weak society where people are not being held to standards and people are being given things without having to earn them. That's a bad idea, because what it does is create people who have the trappings of success, but they have not built the internal fortitude and the discipline in order to earn that success. So then the entire society just becomes weaker. And we know what happens when we have a weak society. It creates hard times and problems for everybody. So we don't want this. We want standards. Standards still matter. And people who are high standard individuals want to be in places to where they want to be in places in which they will be held to a high standard, because that's the type of person that they are. And people who are low level performers want to be in places where there are no standards, because that's the type of person that they are. So you have to ask yourself, what type of person are you? Do you want standards? Very few people apply personal standards to themselves. Very few people hold themselves to rules and parameters and disciplines and standards just by themselves. I'm not talking about at your job or your parents or your boss at work or your coach or your trainer. I'm talking about you holding yourself personally to standards just by yourself. Nobody else even knowing about it. Do you hold yourself to any standards? Most people, and I would bet most of you who are listening to me right now probably cannot answer that question in the affirmative. And this is exactly what I mean. You want to be holding yourself to standards. Standards are easy to live up. Let me back up. The reason why many people don't hold themselves to standards is not because you're not aware of the concept. All of you have heard of the word standard before, and all of you generally understand what it means, right? It means giving yourself rules and parameters. And again, just with yourself. Nobody even knows about it. You're not posting it on social media that you're doing it. It's just you doing it with yourself, holding yourself to rules and accountability. The reason that standards don't get applied, and the reason many people don't use standards, because they're hard. The reason people don't use standards because it is difficult to live up to a standard. Right? It is difficult to do this. Right? People don't want to do it because it's hard. Why would you do something that's hard on purpose? All right, that's the question. That's the way most people think. Why would I do something that's difficult voluntarily on purpose? Why would I do that? Now, you may do something that's difficult if somebody's making you do it, or you're forced to do it. Like, let's say you have a boss at work that makes you do something that's difficult, and they put you on a deadline. You'll do that because somebody's making you do it. But just making yourself do hard stuff for no reason, why would you do that? All right, that's the way most people think. I'm here to let you know that kind of mentality is going to make and keep you average. So any of you, if I just shared with you the way that you think, I'm here to let you know you need to get rid of that mindset like yesterday. That mindset will make you average, and it will keep you average, or it has already made you average and is keeping you average right now. You want to put yourself in a position where you have to do things that are challenging, difficult, and are going to push you voluntarily. You want to do this just on your own for no other reason, just because you decided you want to do it. Why? Because doing hard things makes life easy. Doing easy things makes life hard. There are a bunch of cliches and sayings about this. They say success is hard on the front end, easy on the back end, whereas failure is easy on the front end, hard on the back end. And I just explained to you that when you have a world, a society where there are no standards and people are able to achieve outcomes or quote unquote success without having to go through anything hard, without having to live up to a standard, what happens is we create a society of weaklings, a bunch of people who have success or accomplishment, but they haven't actually had to live up to a standard in order to get the accomplishment. So we get a society of just bums. A bunch of garbage gets created because a bunch of people here have, again, accomplishments and they have a resume, but they haven't actually earned the stuff that they're talking about or the stuff that they are allegedly being celebrated for. They didn't actually earn it. This got handed to them. And we don't want this. And even if society is going in this direction, which it is, it's been going in this direction for about a decade now, just because society is doing something one way doesn't mean you have to follow it. All right. So again, what are we talking about here today? What did I tell you this? What did I tell you that this topic is for? Who did I tell you this topic is for? For leaders. So leaders don't follow what everybody else is doing. Leaders set the trend, they set the tone, and everybody else follows them. So you don't want to be following what society is doing, especially when society is going in the wrong direction. Right now, society is going in the direction of weakness, of low standards, of handing things to people without them having to earn it. All right, you don't want to be this. It started with participation trophies and is extended into other things. Y'all saw what happened to former President Trump this past weekend when he got almost shot. How did that happen? Somebody who's in his Secret Service detail didn't do their job. Why? Because somehow they got into that detail without having to go through the proper standards of doing the job the right way. That's how it happened. Somebody didn't know what they were doing. And someone had posted on, I saw this on IG early this morning. I don't scroll through Instagram, but it was the first thing I saw when I opened my feed, that when you have a person that you're protecting in a security detail, and especially somebody like the president, and the Secret Service agents are supposed to be willing to lay their lives on the line to defend the president. So if somebody starts shooting, everybody jumps in front of the president. So if the bullet gets to the president, the Secret Service people get shot first. And somebody was saying Donald Trump is 6 feet 3 inches tall. He's about my height. He's 6 feet 3 inches tall, but one of his Secret Service agents was this short little woman who's not even 6 feet tall. So if someone had shot a bullet right at Donald Trump's face, it would have went right over her head and hit him right in the jaw. And they're like, that's not supposed to happen. And he's 100% correct. Somebody is not living up to the proper standards. So this is going all the way up to the highest levels of security protecting the president. That's supposed to be like the highest level of security you got, is the people protecting the damn president. And they messed up. All right, they came up short. They didn't even notice a guy up on the roof who was about to shoot a gun at the president. He got all the way up there, set up his gun, and they just let it happen. How does that happen? Standards. Lack of standards. That's how that happens. I don't care how you feel about Donald Trump. That is a lack of standards that even was allowed to almost happen. All right, that guy he could be dead right now, Donald Trump, because somebody didn't do their job. Somebody didn't do their job of setting the proper standards. So I'm going off on a tangent here, but I just want you all to understand that if you want to be a high level performer, you must set standards and impose them on yourself. This is not about somebody else giving you standards. It's about you doing it for and with yourself. And standards are hard to live up to. Again, this is the reason why many people don't do it. Standards are easy when you feel like doing it. Standards are hard when you don't feel like doing it. And that's when you find out if you actually have a standard. You don't feel like it, do you do it anyway? You woke up this morning, you were supposed to go to the gym first thing in the morning, but you were tired and your leg hurts and it's hot outside. Did you go to the gym anyway? I ask you this question. You told yourself that you're going to launch your podcast this month. It's halfway through the month. Did you launch your podcast? Okay. You said you were going to get through all those emails in your inbox, and it's still emails in your inbox. Are you going to get it done? All right. So anything that you tell yourself that you're going to do, you need to do it. So I'm on TikTok right now. TikTok just sent me, it says live visibility restricted because it may contain unoriginal or reproduced content. What the hell are they talking about? Yeah, I don't know what the hell. Yeah, I don't know what the hell TikTok is talking about. Just notice so TikTok just put this up in the middle of my live. I don't know, maybe because I mentioned Donald Trump. I don't know what they're talking about. But anyway, hopefully y'all on TikTok can still hear what I'm saying here on Instagram. I didn't get that on IG, probably because I mentioned Donald Trump. But who knows? But this is exactly what I mean. They're going to say now you can't even mention the person's name. And I remember I posted a clip on TikTok, and I mentioned there was a longer video, and in the video I mentioned Andrew Tate. And I put they're probably going to restrict it because I just said his name. And I put the clip on TikTok. It was like a 60-second clip. And TikTok restricted the clip because all I was doing was saying I heard Andrew Tate say, and then I said what I heard him say. And it wasn't anything crazy. It was something he was talking about discipline and stuff like that. And they wouldn't let the video play on TikTok. And they're like, well, because you mentioned something that's like hateful or restricted content. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Just mention the guy's name. That's hateful. Mention his name. But anyway, I digress. I'll talk about that maybe at a different time. But the point here, folks, is you find out if your standard is really your standard when you don't feel like doing it. All right. So any of you, first of all, I know just by law of averages, most of you don't have standards you set for yourself. So number one thing you need to do when this live is done is go set some standards for yourself. Like write them down. What are your standards? What are your standards? What are the things that are absolute musts in your life? Not maybes, not it would be nice if it happened, not suggestions, not wishes, not hopes, standards. So we know what a standard means. It means it's a rule. It's the rule. You know, you got rules at work that you have to do a certain thing, or if you work at McDonald's, there's a dress code, right? If you work at an office and the boss says, had this on my desk by 5 o'clock on Friday, you better have it on the desk by 5 o'clock Friday. It doesn't matter if it takes you got to stay late at work to get it done. You get it done, right? Those are rules. And if you don't follow the rules, something's going to happen to you. That's a standard. You need to set your standards in your life. And you find out if you have a real standard when you don't feel like doing it. Do you do it anyway? Do you go to the gym even though you don't feel like it? You get out of bed even though you're tired? All right, do you write that email even though you don't feel like writing an email? All right, that's when you find out you have a standard. Most people have no standards. This is why most people are weak. This is why most people lack discipline. This is why most people don't achieve their goals, because people are just lazy. All right, so the whole point being, if people can see you living up to your standards, again, they only have to know what your standards are. This is the key thing, folks. People don't have to know what your standards are. They can see by your behavior that you are doing something that most people don't do. Just being consistent is a standard. Most people are not consistent. How many of you know someone who's consistent? They just consistently there. You just know exactly what you want to get from them. And I'm talking about on their own. I'm not talking about they do it because the job made them do it. Like they're maintenance guys who I see outside where I live out there doing their job. They do that because the job makes them do it. See, I'm talking about standards, things you do just by yourself, just you. Nobody's making you do it. You just choose to do it. How many people do you know do that? Most of you probably can't even, you probably don't even need all the fingers on one hand to count the number of people you know who fit that description, because it ain't too many of them. So here's your opportunity, folks. I want y'all to understand that in life, the opportunity is not in following the crowd. The opportunity is doing what the crowd is not doing. So when you look around and notice something that most people don't do, your opportunity is if and when you're willing to do that. Most people don't have standards. Most people lack discipline, and most people are inconsistent. So guess what your opportunity is? All right, everybody following what I'm saying here? People will understand that you mean it when you set standards and impose standards on them if they see that you impose and set standards on you. So any of you seen the, remember like 4 years ago, they had the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls documentary called The Last Dance? Most of y'all saw that, right? Even if you don't watch sports, a lot of people saw that documentary. And in that documentary, there was one part of it, well, a good amount of it was just talking about Michael Jordan and how he was really hard on his teammates, and he would push them and he would talk trash to them and he would kind of beat them up mentally and sometimes physically in practice. And the whole point was, Michael said this himself, the reason that I push them like that is because if they can deal with me in practice, then they won't have a problem dealing with the New York Knicks or the Detroit Pistons or the Miami Heat when we get to the playoffs. And Michael Jordan went on to say, I never asked any of my teammates to do anything that I didn't do myself. And all his teammates verified that, even though some of them didn't like how it went in the process. They all verified that he was 100% telling the truth. If Michael pushed us in practice, it's because he was also pushing himself. So he didn't tell us to do stuff that he wasn't doing. Everything he told us to do, he was doing it first. That's a standard. And guess what? Everybody on that team did what he pushed them to do, because they couldn't say, well, you ain't doing it, Michael, so I'm not doing it. They couldn't say that because he was doing it. That's the type of mentality and type of energy you have to bring to the table if you want to hold other people to standards. You got to be showing up the way you want them to show up. And if you're not, they're not going to listen to you. Simple as that. If you're not doing what you're asking other people to do, they will not listen to you. They may obey if you're a boss, for example, at work, but will they actually respect it? No, they will not. So this starts with the person in the mirror. That's you. Number 3, we're talking here today about how to pull people up to your level. Number 3, make sure that when you're telling people you're going to pull them up to your level, that they better get results. And what I mean by that they better get results, I don't mean that it's on them to get results. I mean, if you tell other people, come follow my lead, following your lead better lead to results. Because if it doesn't, then they're not going to keep following you. So if I set standards and I say, all right, everybody follow me and do what I'm doing and just listen to what I'm saying, and you do it, and then you don't get results from it, then you're not going to keep listening to me because it didn't work. All right. So if you tell people to follow you, you better take them to the promised land or wherever it is you say you're going to take them. So again, Michael Jordan is a great example. Many of his teammates, if you watch that documentary, you notice how many of them said, yo, Michael Jordan was kind of an asshole and he was kind of a bully in practice and he would push us and he would make us, basically make his teammates work harder than they would have worked if he wasn't around. And then they all said after that, but look what happened. Look at all these championships we won. All the players who were on the Bulls when they played with Michael Jordan, they all got paid. All right. Most of them stopped playing basketball 20 some years ago, but most of you, if you're a basketball fan, you know all of their names, even the guys that wasn't even that good. All right. And they all got paid. They all went to different teams after the Bulls championship run was over, and none of them was as good on another team than they were when they were on the Bulls. Why is that? Because they were around the guy who was leading them. The point being, as he said in the documentary, you can watch it again. I believe it was later in the series, like episode 6 or 7 or 8, one of those. And Michael's like, well, look at the results. Yeah, I pushed them. Yeah, I was a bully. Yeah, I was an asshole. Yeah, I made them do stuff they didn't want to do. And look at the outcome. Everybody won championships. Everybody got paid. Everybody made money. And here we are 20 years later, and everybody still knows us. The proof is in the pudding, folks. So if you're going to tell people to follow you, you better make sure they win. They better get a result from following you. As simple as that. And this applies in any space, folks. I'm using sports as an example here, but this applies anywhere. If you have Work on Your Game University is our coaching program. That's where I do my coaching. If you come in and Work on Your Game University, you will get results. You will advance. You will move forward. Anything that I tell you to do, if you follow it and listen to what I'm saying and you implement and you're accountable, you will get results. Because if I'm not producing results, then I won't be in business. Simple as that. And this applies to all of you, any of you who's an entrepreneur. All right, same thing applies. So make sure that people get a result if they're going. When they decide to listen to or follow another person, when they have a choice, maybe like your parents, for example, you don't have a choice. But let's say if you choose to follow somebody, you don't have to, but you choose to. Biggest concern they have is this going to work? That's the biggest concern people have if they got to listen, if they decide they're going to listen to you. Is this going to work? And they have demons from their past, and when they follow somebody and it didn't work. So you need to make sure that you don't have them revisit that nightmare of when they follow somebody and it didn't work. That's the biggest problem people have, is not problem, but concern people have, is I'm going to follow this person and it's going to fail. All right, so depending on how much commitment you have from a person, you may need to get them a result like today, or it may take a longer time. Like Michael Jordan, they had to play the whole season to win the championship. Whereas you may need to get somebody a result like in the next 10 minutes. The point is, whatever it is that you're asking them to do, you better make sure that they get something in exchange for it that says, okay, that was a good idea because look at this. Everybody follow what I'm saying here? All right, so let me recap these points. If you got a question, go ahead and post it in the comment section and I'll address it. If you got a good question or comment, put it in there. I'll address it right now. We are talking today, those of you came in the middle of what I'm talking about. We're talking about how to pull people up to your level, or how to pull people up, period. And I'll recap the 3 points that I shared. If you got a question or comment, put it in the comment section, then we'll wrap this up. Number one, be on a level to which people can and need to be pulled up. In other words, you got to be somewhere that people look at you and say, damn, I want to do that. I want to get to the level that he's at or what she's doing. I want to accomplish what this person has accomplished. You got to be in a position that other people look at it aspirationally and say, I want to get to where that person's at. And again, it doesn't have to be the whole world. You don't have to be better than everybody, but you do need to be something that the people who you are serving can look at and say, that is something that I want to do. Number two, set standards for yourself so you can set them for others. If you're going to hold other people accountable to a standard, you must be holding yourself accountable to a standard. If you are not holding yourself to standards, these are hard and fast rules that cannot be broken. That's what a standard means. And I'm not talking about somebody else imposing standards on you. I'm not talking about your boss at work. I'm not talking about your parents. I'm not talking about your sports coaches or your teachers at school. I'm talking about you setting rules for yourself, just for you to know about, that nobody else knows about. Are you holding yourself to standards? Most people, and most of you listening to me, do not do this. And I'm telling you that you need to fix that and start doing it right now. Write down a list of standards that you want to hold yourself accountable to. I guarantee your performance levels will go up just because you have rules that you set for yourself. And the most important part of those rules is you have to actually respect yourself enough to follow your own rules. It's another challenge most people have. I'll talk about that in another video at some point in the future. Number three, if you're going to ask people to live up to standards that you're going to set, make sure that they get a result. Again, Michael Jordan, he pushed his teammates hard, but they all won the championship and they all got paid and they all known as 20 years later, most of them are still famous just because they were on the team with Michael Jordan, not because they were that good. Right? His teammates weren't that much better than all the other teammates of other superstars in the NBA. Difference is he pushed them to a level that they're more known than all the other teammates from all the other guys because they won championships. They won championships because Michael Jordan was pushing them and leading them. So you want to lead, make sure that people that you lead, you take them to the promised land. You take them to an outcome that they can say, damn, it was hard following this person. It was hard doing what they told me to do, but can't argue with these results. All right, that's what you need to do. That is your mandate if you're going to be a leader and you want to pull people up. And this ain't for everybody, by the way. Let me give you a disclaimer. This is not for everybody. All right, not all of you need to be doing this. All right, some of you should be in a subordinate following role, and some of you are destined to be in a leadership role. Leadership is not for everybody, but if you want to be a leader, these are the things that you have to do. All right, this is the mission. Should you accept it? This is not easy. It is not fun. It is not one big party. It is not relaxing, and you're signing up for it voluntarily. So any of you who heard all of that, and this is the step that you want to take, you need to go to Work on Your Game University. That's the place where you can work with me directly. Again, 3 groups that we have worked with the most are small business owners who are looking to do more business, of course. They're also high performing people who are looking for the high performance mindset, because mindset's the foundation of what we do, and people who are transitioning into entrepreneurship. That is, whether you are leaving the corporate world and becoming an entrepreneur, you are leaving the military and becoming an entrepreneur, or you are leaving the athletic world and becoming an entrepreneur. We work with people in all of those spaces. And again, that's workonyourgameuniversity.com, our 4 pillars: mindset, strategy, systems, and accountability. So with that said, let me see if anybody had a question or a comment. If you got one on Instagram, go ahead and post it right now. I'm just checking TikTok. TikTok had the restriction, but then I guess they took it off. I don't know what that was. Probably because I mentioned Donald Trump. All right, so TikTok, Donald Trump. All right, they restricted my, they tried to restrict my guy because I said Donald Trump's name. I don't know why. Somebody said, Dre, you've been consistent since I was a kid. That's a fact. I don't know how old you are, but you're right. I've been consistent for almost 2 decades in this game. Started with playing basketball, now into business mindset and personal development stuff. But you are right. I have been consistent. You're right. That's based on standards. That's not some random talent, by the way, which means I'm saying that not to impress you all, but to impress upon you. Any of you can do this. You just have to make the decision, and then you got to set things up. All right, so let's see. Instagram. I didn't see any comments on TikTok except that one. Instagram. I didn't see anything. All right, so I guess I was just amazing today. Nobody has a question. So everybody have a great rest of your day and week. Review your goals for the month of July. We're halfway through the month, so see where you are goals-wise. If you're hitting your goals, if you don't have any goals, start writing them down. And just marinate on what you heard here today. You got a question or comment for me, send me a DM. My assistant's always watching the DMs. We will respond to your DM. And that's that. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Work on your game.